Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to this live discussion from our studios here in Bonn, Germany. My name is Josey, and joining me today is Ghana's Minister of Information, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. He'll be shedding more light in governance, in terms of governance in Ghana and Africa at large. Welcome, Minister, to DW Africa, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Josey. Good to be with you.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us. And how has the government been dealing with coronavirus pandemic in Ghana so far?
We've been doing our best to achieve about 5 major objectives. First, to limit importation of cases into Ghana. Second, to control communal spread. Third, to ensure that persons who we discover are positive are given adequate care. Fourthly, to ensure that we are able to produce a good chunk of the things that are required in the COVID-19 response program within our own jurisdiction so that we don't suffer from global shortages. And then finally, to mitigate the impact of the COVID-19 response program on the socioeconomic well-being of our people. And so far, we have achieved some moderate success.
And how has the government been dealing with, the 100 local herbalists that submitted their herbal medicine for the coronavirus pandemic? Have you done the testing so far?
We have agreed with the local medicinal community that prepares herbal mixtures on some testing arrangements between the Center for Plant Medicine in Mampong and the Food and Drugs Authority of Ghana. And we are hopeful that when any of their products fall within the 2 categories, we can boldly announce to the country. The 2 categories being one that are immune boosters, and the second category being what some believe are of a curative nature. Our understanding is that whatever medications are prepared will fit within these 2 categories, and we've agreed with them on how they ought to be tested. And if and when we are successful, fingers crossed, we'll let the world know.
And I've had a lot of Ghanaians sending me messages before our live today, asking that you've been tilting numbers, the president is lying about numbers, you are also, the mouthpiece of the government, and you've been lying about cases, numbers in cases in Ghana. How true is that?
That's absolutely false. The Ghana Health Service, from the very beginning, leads the exercise of collating all the data on tests that are conducted on persons who are undergoing care and on mortality. And the Ghana Health Service has rolled out a website where they announce those numbers on a regular basis, I think at the end of every day, based on what the testing centers have brought together. They announce those numbers on their website. Initially, people or some persons thought the numbers were higher than what were being reported. And then at some point, they thought the recoveries were lower than what was being reported. But consistently, the Ghana Health Service and the testing authorities have faced the cameras, faced the press, and responded to queries or questions about how they are going about their program. The data as we have it is what the Ghana Health Service puts out on a daily basis. You must understand that Ghana is also heading towards an election. And so you will find people who, for political, mischievous reasons, will always want to take something away from Ghana's response program. But we are very focused on getting the outcomes.
All right, Honorable, talking of elections, you also rolled out that people should go for registration. So how are you going to manage it with the COVID-19 pandemic going around in the world right now?
So it is Ghana's Electoral Commission. It is not the government of Ghana. Ghana's Independent Electoral Commission is the one that has signaled that it will want to put in place a new register for the December elections. What everybody's been concerned about is how do you ensure that the population is protected in this COVID-19 era while you are going about this registration exercise that you have announced. But they explained to us that for everything they'll be doing, whether it's registration or exhibition or the actual election itself, in the midst of this pandemic, they will do their very best to ensure that there's protection for officials, there's protection for voters or people who are registering throughout this process, and they've already outlined how they intend to go about it. There are some persons in the Ghanaian jurisdiction who are not pleased with these announcements by the Electoral Commission and have therefore gone to the Supreme Court seeking to get some clarification or amendments issued by the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court has made some directives on that as at yesterday, asking the Electoral Commission to furnish it with some information so that it can make a decision. Ghana's democracy is such that things are open and clear, and if anybody is aggrieved, there are trusted courts that are able to listen to all sides and adjudicate on matters properly. So we are confident that in the end, the best interest of the Republic will be served.
And what's your opinion with the conspiracy theories around the Madagascar herbal medicine at Mercia? You also said that once the Center for Plant Medicine was supposed to test the medicine to confirm its efficiency. Your comment on that, Honorable Minister?
We are open to any possible treatment, but we will test all of these treatments, be they local or international, be they from Europe or Madagascar or wherever. And we have said that the Madagascar authorities have reached out to us that they have what they call a curative potion. And when we do get samples of that, we'll subject it to the test like we'll do all other products and then take a decision from there.
All right, events unfolding in the U.S. right now regarding racism have shocked the world. If these were in another country, the U.S. would have immediately, Honorable Minister, immediately reacted and threatened with sanctions. Why is Africa not doing enough to exert pressure on the U.S. leadership?
I think the historical antecedents of Africa having a strong collective voice on the global stage is one that we all cannot be proud of. It has taken a few African leaders as individuals to even voice condemnation of what has happened in the US, notable among them Ghana's President Akufo-Addo. But we have to move beyond what one or two presidents can publicly say and get to a point where the African Union, as an entity that represents Africans, makes a certain policy position known on the global world stage or the global stage about the subject of growing racism in the USA. And the earlier we do that, the better for ourselves as a continent.
All right, and China's presence in Africa, including Ghana, is already shaping and reshaping the continent. What can you say about this so-called systematic recolonization by the Chinese?
We have to work with all our international partners on a balanced scale, because every country in the geopolitical space plays to its own internal interest first. And for those who warn that we could get into an era of colonization or commercial colonization a second time based on the relationship we're having with the Chinese, I think the best answer will be for the countries that are engaging with China, like we are, to ensure that they put the best persons at the table, to ensure that they get the best of negotiations, to ensure that they do not mortgage the future of Africa's children away under any such arrangement. Yes, we have to do business with other parts of the world, including China, but we have to do it with our eyes wide open so that we're not left with the short end of the stick.
And speaking of doing business with other parts of the world, President Nana Akufo-Addo made a remarkable speech dubbed Africa Beyond Aid. Any achievements with the project so far, and do you think the continent is ready to embrace it?
So we are not there yet, but it is a big, hairy, audacious goal that President Akufo-Addo is challenging Africa to rise to, that we must become a self-confident, self-resourced continent that is able to focus the bulk of its resources on tackling the growth and development needs and tackling the social intervention needs of our people. And if our partners around the world are at any point in time to come to assist us, it should be on our terms, at our direction, and not the status quo that currently prevails, where Africa continues to struggle in its bid to determine where to find resources to grow and develop and take care of its social needs, and literally has to wait for in a good instance, grants that are dictated by international organizations or by foreign countries. And it is heartwarming to note that a number of African countries are warming up to this big, hairy, audacious goal that President Akufo-Addo has challenged Africa to. And hopefully, as Africa gets consumed by it, we should see a lot more countries getting on that path to sustainability.
You know, I am so proud when I see people of my age group, holding such offices as you do. I won't tell you who's older, you or I, but as a young African leader, what is your opinion regarding governance and leadership in Africa in the 21st century, Honorable Minister?
We've had a very terrible history of coups and civil wars, very little democracy in the last 60 or so years since independence started rolling across the African continent. In the last decade, a number of African countries have tried their best to get democratic and to build strong democratic institutions. Moving forward, we need to, like the Africa 2063 agenda says, we need to be very clear in our minds that what we want on the African continent is freedom, is governance institutions that are strong, to protect populations and to give people the opportunity to express themselves, to express their business ideas, their economic ideas, and their full potential. And it is in so doing that we'll be able to achieve stability, which will then bring growth, which will then bring jobs and incomes that will improve the quality of lives of our people. And it will take a lot more young Africans to step up to the plate and offer themselves also for public service with a clear intent to serve the community and not to be served. And if we get a lot more of those, I am optimistic that we will shorten our learning curve and get to the higher heights that Africa deserves to be. We are such a blessed continent. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to appropriate our resources for our benefit. We have usually been at the odd end of the bargaining table. But as we begin to flip the script around with Africa Beyond Aid, with a lot more well-motivated young people getting into the service space, we should be able to quicken that circle.
Absolutely. Speaking of freedom, Honorable Minister, you were a journalist before, obviously, holding this very important office that you hold today. What can you say about why African journalists are still being killed for doing their job?
The truth is that all over the world, journalism has been under attack in recent years. It's not just been an African problem, but that is not to say that that makes it okay in Africa.
Exactly.
But I think it is drawn from the fact that Africa is still in a transition of getting into a deeper democratic space with the freedoms that must come with it. And we need to continuously advocate for it so that everybody in the value chain, citizens, the media, politicians, even security agencies that are used as tools for these purposes sometimes, all have a clear understanding that the media, the fourth estate of the realm, exists to create a free expression space in which space we can have a deep confluence of ideas, the best of which will help transform our societies. And a lot more advocacy can help us curb this trend.
Okay, Honorable Minister, thank you so much. But before you go, are there any last words that you want to tell people in Ghana and obviously Africans also listening to us and watching us right now?
I think first, let me start with COVID-19. All countries have to look at their own ecosystems and what will best suit their environment in tackling it. But at the end of the day, the focus must be on protecting lives and balancing that with people's livelihoods and quality of life. The second is that we have great opportunities ahead of us as a
Okay, Honorable Minister, we're listening to you, but I think we lost you there. Okay.
Women, a lot more.
Do you mind repeating that? Because I think network dropped a little bit.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, Honorable Minister?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, you were talking about COVID-19, yes.
Yes, I was saying that. So every country has to find its specific response program to COVID-19 and let the data and the science lead. And secondly, we have a lot of opportunities ahead of us as a continent. What we need to do is to be a lot more inclusive, bringing in a lot more women.
Okay, I think there is a problem with our network right
for the continent.
Okay, because we are live, I mean, we're streaming live. We've had a lot of questions. But before we go, I would just want you to ask answer this one question from Muhammad Masahudu. He asks, how far with the justice for Ahmed Sahule, Major Mahama, Taadi girls, among others, in Ghana? Minister, are you there?
The grind. I'm here. Institutions such as the courts are handling some of those matters, like Major Mahama, etc.
Okay, and unfortunately, network is jealous and we cannot continue with that discussion with Honorable Minister, but I'm glad that we had covered most of the issues that we wanted to discuss with him today. There we were speaking to Minister of Information in Ghana, Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. You heard for yourselves what he said about COVID-19, what he said about Beyond the Aid initiative in Ghana, and we just hope that we will be able to speak to him again after the elections and to find out how far the initiative has gone and what is happening in Africa. But as usual, we keep bringing you these mouthpieces in Africa. That was the minister, so he is definitely the mouthpiece of Ghana as Minister of Information in Ghana, a West African country. But thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. And as usual, I am Josey Mahachi and signing out.